What's going on, guys? Welcome back to F123 for my team career mode season 2, round number 16, the season finale, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. First of all, sorry that I haven't uploaded in over a week an F123 video. Frankly, I've been quite busy. I race RC cars, remote control cars, and I had a big event on last weekend, and I've kind of just been preparing for that all week, so haven't really had the time to play F1. Also, just kind of wanted to take a bit of a break. I just haven't really been feeling it lately, so but finally got into it here. I was a little bit rusty, I'm gonna be honest, with this one, because this was like, yeah, a week, just over a week of not playing F1, so I was a bit rusty, but this is the season finale for season 2. We wrapped up the championship, the Drivers' Championship, last time out in Las Vegas, even though we had a mechanical DNF. Lewis Hamilton also had a mechanical DNF, so in the end we sealed the championship there, even with that result. But we'll see what we can do here in Abu Dhabi. We are having to take a grid penalty, and it's a 10-place grid penalty to change, I believe, the turbo, because it was the turbo, I believe, that went last time out in Vegas. So we have to put a new turbo in, because all our other ones are really quite knackered. So we do have a grid penalty for this race, so we'll see how that affects us. It's going to make things difficult. First time driving in Abu Dhabi in F123. We didn't come here in Season 1, so all new things for us here in F123 for the season finale, but very excited to get into Season 3 once this one is done. Q1 goes around, we ended up P10, Sonoda there in P9, so decent enough result. That was actually my first flying lap. I didn't improve on my second, so pretty happy with that all in all. But as we then get into Q2, we don't get through to Q3 again. This is going to be 3 times in a row that we don't get into Q3. Now that is, 1, me being a bit rusty here, and 2, just with how close the field is, it's just getting more and more difficult, and yeah, we just didn't really have the pace here in Abu Dhabi, as it seems. So yeah, very, very disappointing. You know, we got through to Q3 in every race, up until round 14 Portugal, we missed out, round 15 Vegas, we missed out, and now round 16 Abu Dhabi, we miss out again. So yeah, really unfortunate just not having the pace, but thankfully, yeah, we pretty much already wrapped up the championship before all those issues came about for us. But so this race is pretty much just a bit of a fun one, really. We're sitting what is that, P10 or is that P18? I think it's P10 at the moment, as cars are crossing the line. This is right at the end of qualifying. We're up by about a 10th on our lap time, but not up enough. We've now been dropped down to P11, so right now we are in the danger zone. And you know, I was kind of looking at the time here, and we've made quite a bit of time actually through that. Well, we did make a bit of time through there, and then the final couple of corners really lost quite a lot of time. We lost about 2 tenths. We've made it up a little bit through the final corner, but that wasn't enough. Little mistakes through those final few corners of Sector 3 really cost us there, because we've only just missed out. It's P11 for us, and with a 10-place grid penalty, that's going to be P21 at best, or at worst, I guess, depending on other penalties, on the grid for us for the main race. We've beat both Red Bulls, both of them knocked out in Q2. Once again, terrible season for them. Sonoda's up there in P7. Let's see what he can do in Q3. But that's qualifying for the last race of the season.
It's time then for one final race in this year's Formula One World Championship. 2010 saw 4 drivers in contention for the title coming into this race, with Sebastian Vettel prevailing to become the youngest world champion to date. Is there one last sting in the tail awaiting us today? Well, it's time to find out here at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The drivers will be racing here at the Yas Marina circuit through 16 corners and a lap distance of around 3.28 miles. There are a few opportunities to pass with long straights and DRS zones in 2 places, so plenty of close racing, then plenty of speed and plenty of drama to be found in the laps ahead. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Oscar Piastri lines up on pole position, and Lando Norris lines up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Fernando Alonso, Sainz, Hamilton, Leclerc, Sonoda, Russell, Gasly, Stroll, Verstappen, Albon, Ocon, Perez, Bottas, Liam Lawson, Doohan, Magnussen, Sargent, Joe, Davies, and Nick de Vries. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. And I'm joined once again by Anthony Davidson to bring you the lowdown for today's race. The last few races have been a bit rough for them, unable to get a clean run. That's got to have some effect on their confidence, surely.
Certainly confidence is an important factor. And every time you're involved in an incident, it's not just the car you damage, but that confidence as well. But all the top racing drivers are able to tune that out when the race gets underway and focus on the job at hand.
Alright, here we go for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the final race of Season 2. It is a McLaren front row lockout once again. They are showing some immense pace here. We get started. It's actually not a very good start from us. Whoever was, I think it was De Vries, the car behind us on the grid, actually got a really good start. The cars ahead of us didn't get a very good start, but we just got boxed in. Pretty tricky turn one, not a big run into turn one here in Abu Dhabi. And we've actually fallen to last place, so this is probably our worst ever start of a race. Usually we go forward. We have very good starts in this game generally, but yeah, from 21st on the grid, we start this race now 22nd. We've had it's not been a good start, but to be honest, I'm not massively hopeful. But another thing that, so basically the game updated, because I'll talk here because not a lot happens here for me on this first lap. The game did an update before I went into quali for Abu Dhabi, and it changed a bunch of settings and stuff. I had to reconfigure my wheel again, and you may have noticed, you may have known that back in F122 I had an issue where putting on my throttle pedal all the way, it would like fluctuate and I wouldn't get full power down the straights. Now straight away I think it's an issue with my pedals, but I can change the saturation of the pedal and instantly fix that for F123, so it's never been an issue in F123. Now that all got reset with this update. I knew about it straight away, changed it, we were all good for qualifying, but then it was a few days later that I did the race, and for some reason it's changed again. And yeah, we've run about 2/3 of this race with a slightly busted pedal. So you'll see going down the main straights at the start, the throttle application will not be quite 100% for the start of a straight, as onto lap 2 we make a dive up the inside of Sargent, get back up into P21, but it's definitely not been a good start for us. So yeah, P21 on the end there. Onto lap 4 now, we're still P21, but now we're going to have a look up the inside of Kevin Magnussen into the hairpin with DRS as well. You'll see there my throttle application just flickers a little bit, and I do fix that at about lap 25, so a bit too late into the race, so that really does end up costing us. But we have just about managed to get past Magnussen. We're going to defend from him going into this chicane. You've got Doohan and Joe, I think that is, battling up ahead, but Joe manages to, I'm not sure if he got ahead or if Doohan was ahead beforehand. At the front, and Piastri leads the way from pole position. Lando Norris, though, is coming for him, though. Norris won the last 2 races in this season. He's going for 3 in a row here. Piastri hasn't won a Grand Prix so far in this whole career mode at all in his F1 career. He won the sprint, I think it was, in Belgium, but hasn't won a main Grand Prix yet. Norris got past him, but now Piastri's fighting him back in the second DRS zone here. As they go round the long left hand of the two McLaren side by side, Fernando Alonso in the Aston Martin, he's sniffing what would be, I think, his 3rd win actually of this season if he can get it here today. Looks like a battle between these 3 at the moment. Hamilton actually not too far behind them, but I believe Piastri's managed to get himself back into the lead there. So it's still a McLaren 1-2. As we continue on lap 4 here, stuck behind Joe and Doohan. There's a safety car and it's now escalated to a red flag. Seems to be a little bit of a kerfuffle up ahead. That looks like a Red Bull facing the wrong way. What has happened there? It is a red flag though, and we have a look here, looking at Lance Stroll behind Max Verstappen. Now the reason I'm looking at Stroll here is because Verstappen's replay camera wasn't very good, but it's actually Verstappen who goes for a spin around that corner, completely holds everybody up. There's a bit of contact between a couple of cars, bit of front wing damage as well for someone, but just Verstappen spinning it completely on his own, and yeah, causing a massive pile-up under the bridge. Verstappen's had an absolutely woeful season. It's been terrible for Verstappen and Red Bull, but mainly Verstappen. I think Perez has had the better of him most of this season. we're going to go into hard compound tyres for hopefully the final, the remainder of this race. So it's 5 lights off, and away we go for the restart, lap number 7 in Abu Dhabi. It's a much better start for us this time. On the inside, we get past 3, 4, maybe even another car alongside Sergio Perez into turn 1. Perez, though, keeps it on the outside. I'm a little bit cautious of cars ahead of me. As you can see, we're on the hards, a lot of other drivers on the hards as well. There are a few drivers though on the soft tyres, and I think maybe a couple on the mediums as we go for a big dive up the inside of Perez. Wasn't really expecting to go for a move there, but he just really got stuck behind the cars ahead of him going into that hairpin, and we've got past Sergio Perez. So we've made good positions at the start on the restart here this time around. Perez now actually having a look back at a move on us round the outside, but we're going to dive up the inside of Doohan into this chicane. Doohan still there on the inside. He is one of the cars on the soft compound tyres, so he will not be going to the end of this race. He's going to have to come in for another pit stop, along with a few other soft tyre runners. But yeah, us on the hards, we're definitely going to try and go to the end. I assume everybody else on the hards will also try and go to the end in this race, as we are ahead of Doohan now, and he's now fighting with Perez behind, but we're now up into P16, so it's definitely been a better restart here than the initial race start. The two Ferraris now having a bit of a battle. Charles Leclerc still carrying that number 1 on his car at the moment, because he of course won the championship in season 1. This will be the last race that he will carry that number 1 though, until maybe he wins the championship again further down the line. It's not been the best season for Ferrari after the highs they had in season 1. The two Ferraris fighting each other now. They've been pretty closely matched actually all season, but I'm not sure. I think maybe Leclerc got... Did Leclerc get a win? I think Leclerc might have got a win at some point. But apart from that, it's been pretty woeful. I don't know if they've even had another podium at Ferrari. The McLarens, though, they've been a dominant force in this second half of the season. They're still fighting each other though, and that is not helping them out here. Lando Norris still trying to get past Oscar Piastri, his teammate. They're going to be side by side once again, coming up to this long left-hander. The two McLarens, the two papaya cars side by side. Fernando Alonso just behind them there. Hamilton a little further back as well. This top 4 fairly close here, as it's a very zoomed out helicopter view here, but in the end I think Piastri just about manages to defend from his teammate, but now Alonso and Hamilton are right there with them. It is a super close 4-way battle for the lead. We now have Bottas and Ocon, the cars ahead of us. Ocon with a 5-second penalty. Not sure what that's for. I think maybe he was part of the contact with that whole Verstappen issue. I don't know why Ocon's been the one given a penalty though. As we manage to get past Bottas down the straight, we're going to see if we can get 2 cars on one straight here on the outside of Ocon as well. Ocon's going to try and outbrake us though into the chicane. We're just going to keep our car there, just squeeze him out of room on the exit, but give him enough room to work with. But we do manage to get the position from Ocon, and we're now up another position and making our way back through. Maybe a little bit more pace for us on these hard compound tyres, but I do still have this issue of my pedals still not working properly at the moment. We don't fix that until about lap 25. As now Albon and Gasly, the other Alpine, are fighting up ahead, and we've got a mega run on Pierre Gasly, who doesn't have DRS, and we're actually going to have a look at Albon as well, as we're going to go side by side. It's pretty much 3 wide at one point through that left hander there. We've got past Gasly though. We're now side by side with Alexander Albon, who's been having great races this season in that Williams car, which is not a terrible car at the moment. He's definitely getting the better of his teammate. We're still side by side as we head under the bridge here. Great little battle with Alex there, but we just about come out on top with our superior car performance. We're now up into P12, so we are sniffing points in this race now, and there are still a couple of cars ahead of us. Liam Lawson, the other Haas, also on the soft compound tyres, one of those who we will surely be getting ahead of. As we have a look a bit further ahead of us at our teammate Yuki Tsunoda, him and Russell both gone round the outside, gone round the outside and the inside of Carlos Sainz, who's fallen back a little bit here in the Ferrari, and now it's Tsunoda versus Russell. Tsunoda probably going to be his last race for my team here, not because he's done a terrible job. He's done an okay job. I mean, not as well as I would have hoped compared to what I've done this season, but he's done a decent enough job. He's had 1 podium in Canada. and a lot of decent results, but nothing amazing. But yeah, we will probably drop him at the end of the season just in favour of a new driver, just to spice it up a bit. And also the fact that Tsunoda, yeah, he hasn't done the best job, I wouldn't say. He's definitely got the legs on us today, though, in Abu Dhabi, although that could be a lot down to our throttle issue. The two McLarens still battling it out, though, at the front here, and Alonso is still there. They've actually dropped Hamilton a little bit here. Hamilton losing out a little bit to these guys, and I think that's Charles Leclerc, the car behind him, although Leclerc's on the medium compound tyres, so he'll probably be coming in for another stop unless he's going very long on those mediums. The two McLarens, though, battling each other. Norris has got into the lead, but now Alonso is going to fight Norris for the race lead. Piastri's dropped now from first to third, but still very much in this fight. Alonso, though, has made a beautiful move and has got from third to first. So now Fernando Alonso leads this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix on lap number 17 for Aston Martin. Lando Norris, though, really gonna try and fight him for this one to have that 3 wins in a row. He's gonna try and go round the outside of Fernando Alonso in the chicane. They're going to be side by side. Alonso gets the better run out of the chicane, though, but I think Lando Norris is going to pick up the DRS. And as they go down the straight, Hamilton's now caught up as well once again with these two fighting each other, and Piastri's still there in the background. Norris, though, back up into the lead of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. This is a fight definitely worth watching, as once again, lap number 20 now, Alonso going back for the lead around the outside of Lando Norris. Epic battles going on at the front of this field for the final win in Season 2 between, I mean, it's really at the moment between Alonso, Norris, Piastri and Hamilton, but it's mainly Norris and Alonso that seem to be battling at the moment for that win. George Russell fighting for P5 actually with my teammate Yuki Tsunoda, so Tsunoda here could be getting P5 as Leclerc has pitted by this point and is a bit further back on hard compound tyres, actually catching up to us further behind. But yeah, Russell trying to get past Tsunoda defending very well here, though. He's doing a good performance for this final race, his final race at my team potentially, but Russell has managed to get past at this point in time, although I think Russell might end up getting back past, because I'm pretty sure he does end up finishing 5th in this race. Spoilers for further ahead. We're sitting P9 and fairly good at the moment. We are kind of keeping a gap to Verstappen ahead. Every now and again we catch him, every now and again he gets ahead. Leclerc, though, is catching us rapidly behind. One, because of the issue, which by this point, lap 27, I have now fixed the issue. You'll see as I go on full throttle here, there's no little blips of the throttle anymore, but it's a little bit too little too late as Leclerc on quicker, newer, hard compound tyres blitzes past us down the straight. I didn't use ERS on purpose there because I was hoping that maybe down onto the next straight I could fight him, but we went a bit too clumsy over the curbs through the chicane, and even though we do pick up DRS and boost as much ERS as we can, we can't catch up to Leclerc. He's just too quick, and I think we're going to have to concede that, and I think P10 might be the best we can hope for in this race here today. Lap 27 with the leaders though, and Hamilton is actually now going for a move on Piastri, as Norris was having a look at a move on Alonso, who still leads this race at the moment, but Hamilton trying to take the final spot on the podium from the young Australian of Oscar Piastri. These two fighting tooth and nail now. Hamilton looked a bit slower than these guys, but kind of managed to get there with them because of the battling up ahead. Piastri does manage to just about defend though and keep that P3 position. Lap 27, we're still actually hanging on to DRS from Leclerc, but red engine goes up in smoke, and it's another mechanical DNF for us. We didn't have a mechanical failure all season until last round in Vegas, and then we have double DNFs. We have back-to-back DNFs in round 15 and round 16 here. We are out of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix on technically lap 28 of 29, but it's okay. We've won the championship anyway, but not the end of the season we would have wanted.
But they can go into the winter with their heads held high after an emphatic victory here today. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
It's time to present the top drivers with their trophies for today's Grand Prix. And there are a lot of people in the paddock very happy with this result. It's Aston Martin on the top step.
So Fernando Alonso manages to fend off the McLarens to take another win here in Season 2 in this career mode. What a win for Fernando Alonso in this final race of the season. Lando Norris has Lando Norris comes home second, if I can get that out, and Oscar Piastri comes home third. So it's another double podium for McLaren. What form they have, and with no regulation change going into Season 3, McLaren are looking very strong to fight for the title in Season 3, so let's hope they can carry over. Like I said, no regulation change, but let's hope they can just keep it going and still be there fighting at the front in Season 3, because it's going to be very exciting with my team, with Mercedes, with McLaren, with Aston Martin, Ferrari somewhat starting to get back up there, fighting for wins. It could be even closer in Season 3. We ended up winning the championship. We won last time in Vegas, but we ended up with a 24-point lead over Hamilton in the end. He came home P4 in that race. Tsunoda ended up P11, joint on points with Lance Stroll for P10, so a decent result. 84 points, I believe, for Tsunoda, but you know, when we're winning the championship, P11 for him is not amazing. Haas, Alfa Romeo and AlphaTauri did not score points all season, and that reflects in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes ended up taking the Constructors' Championship about 81 points ahead of ourselves. TGL Motorsport, Aston Martin came home third. McLaren had a well-fought fourth place, with Ferrari coming home fifth, Red Bull all the way down in sixth, Alpine seventh, Williams in eighth with the final points scored, 17 points for them. Good season all round. And then Haas, Alfa Romeo and AlphaTauri with no points at the back of the championship. But anyway, that is it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.